Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show you how game artists create textures for AAA games. It means games with a huge budget, like you see from Riot Games, from Blizzard. Right now I'm showing you all the best modern works, and in this video before the webinar I will briefly show you the pipeline that we use. So I know many experienced 3D artists and regular artists are watching these videos. You guys already know much about the game dev industry. I need to take a pause and explain it for complete beginners. Yeah guys, if you played any mobile or PC game, you probably see graphics like this. And all of these models, all of these animations, textures, they were created by artists. And for some people it will be news, but this is actually a very promising emerging industry, where top artists, top 3D artists get paid a lot. By the way guys, right now I'm using this platform ArtStation where you can find best of the best artworks. Here every artist from the industry posted their portfolio. Let me introduce myself, my name is Ruslan and at the moment I am working as a texture lead in N-hance studio. You can see all of these works on my ArtStation. So some of these models I created from scratch, like this one. Here we have actually the 3D model with polygons, and on the left we see the textured version. After posting something like this back then, now I got many offers only for texturing. Actually, my first professional experience that allowed me to grow really fast was texturing in N-hance Studio and working on lots of NDA projects. Some of these projects are just huge. This is another example of model without and with texture. So on the webinar, I will show you this pipeline. I will show you worst mistakes to avoid and how to save you plenty of time. And since last year, I was engaged in very professional trainings for people who want to break into the industry. So what do I actually mean by that? If we take a look at very top recent projects like this one, you can see the quality of the textures of 3D models is insane. And right now I'm going to talk to more experienced artists. We can see very detailed color base, very nice coloring, but at the same time we have roughness map. We can see this glossiness. This is actually called PBR and paint pipeline. And that's the thing about this industry, not many 3D artists understand this pipeline. And if we go to her profile, by the way, she is a great artist, we doesn't see any 3D artworks. These are her two works. You can see she has a skills in illustration and another one. And you can see literally next projects are from very top AAA game. And as she mentioned, her task was to make textures. That's the thing about modern industry. Studios tend to hire illustrator, concept artists, and teach them how to texture 3D models. That's why it's actually in demand if you can create 3D models and texture them properly. And that's what I actually teach my students, the complete process from scratch. Also, because of AI technologies, many 3D artists move to this industry as well, and in my opinion, this is literally the best solution for them, because our goal is to paint on top of 3D model. This is why it's called hand-painted textures. So yeah, this seems very complex, and of course all of these models were provided, but where do you actually start? We start with Substance Painter. In this software we will create color base for our future texture painting, and I want to show you one simple example right away. I'm being honest, this model was submitted by one of my students from personal mentorship. It was the first session. He just wanted to know how to make it more stylized, like in my portfolio, like in modern games. So as you can see, we have lots of very confusing layers. We even have noise on this cactus, but the thing that we need to keep the texture simple. In the beginning, we don't add any kind of complex noise, any small dots. We just need to create color base. And for this, I will use our custom plugin. You can use any other that you want. In my opinion, this one is the best. Some people already know this. So if I apply it, you can see the result is completely different and it's more volumetric. We can go here to diffuse and we can increase brightness right away, just like this, or we can change the entire color. And sometimes it's mind-blowing for the beginners, like how simple it actually is. And then next step is to actually texture on this 3D model. And we have very specific rules how to make it. For this, we use 3D Code or Photoshop or combination of both. I'm telling my students it's not that complex as you think. First of all, we need to add stuff that's impossible to bake or impossible to make on the 3D model. For example, the connection between different objects. It will be very cool if we can paint some nice stylized detail like this. The principles that I use, it's a huge topic and I will talk about this on the webinar. then, for example, we can add very small highlights on top. So here, everything should be clean and simple. We don't need to add many of the brush strokes. By the way, you don't need art degree to paint stuff like this. In the start, I literally had no talent in this. I also failed all of my drawing classes in university, but I was very passionate about this style, modern games, and the ability to get paid a lot and literally travel and work at the same time. And here, this seems pretty simple, but this is just one step in order to create textures like this. The entire texture took us 3 hours to make. Not a week like people are talking about. It's not that complex once you understand the correct pipeline. On the webinar, I will talk about pipeline mistakes to avoid in your portfolio. This is crucial for finding your first work, how to actually find the first work, and also useful AI tools that you can use. And only on the webinar, I will open access for my personal big training where you can learn this profession from scratch, find your first job, or if you have experience, just level up and increase your rate as a 3D artist. So yeah, it's not a secret. On the webinar, I will show very useful stuff that you can implement right away and full program of my personal training with my mentorship and without, with a huge discounts only for webinar participants. And of course, the goal of the training is to just break you to the industry. Like we did here, you can see this is mentorship Discord where we have only few of the users. Anya submitted it less than 2 months ago. You can see the quality of the texture and literally after 2 months, the same texture after my personal mentorship. I also showed here how to correctly post an station, how to present this stuff. This is very important. I control it. So yeah, I don't want to promote it a lot in this video, just to let you know guys that we'll have it as well, because it's pretty recent and some of the students already have huge progress. This one is actually crazy. You can see 3 months ago, she submitted her portfolio. Once she joined, on the first lesson right away, I showed her how to correctly create color base, like we did here. So this is the result. And this is the result with textures. Of course, we had to struggle a bit, but let's just take a look at your portfolio. So it was made during my mentorship, posted 3 weeks ago, got more than 100 likes, and she told me after this work, she found a job in her country. That was crazy. I will wait for you on the webinar. I will give lots of free useful tips and we will give away 2 prizes for anyone who will watch the webinar till the end. And these are free checklists for a successful portfolio and for getting your dream job in a big company. The time of the webinar is based on GMT plus 0, basically the same as Central Europe time, CAT. For example, if your time zone is GMT plus 7, it's just 7 hours more from the time that we mentioned. I hope it's not confusing and I will see you on the webinar.